let's just wait and see how it turns out. Let's just see.
Okay, so shall we do this?
Yeah, sure, man.
Okay, so we've got a little snippet of the new president, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, and no, I'm joking. He does seem like a really nice guy, but my only worry is his age, quite honestly. But I hope he continues the whole way through and he doesn't have an issue. But we've got a little snippet of his inauguration speech. We're just going to have a watch together, and we're going to sort of comment on it and see what we think.
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. And I ask every American to join me in this cause.
Yeah, unite is going to be a key word going forward, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Uniting to fight the foes we face: anger, resentment and hatred, extremism, lawlessness, violence, disease, joblessness and hopelessness. With unity.
So he's acknowledged that there are problems that he's going to have to deal with.
Important things.
Yeah.
We can
I want to see some
wrongs.
introspection, though.
We can put people to work in good jobs. We can teach our children in safe schools. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work and rebuild the middle class and make health care secure for all. We can deliver racial justice, and we can make America once again the leading force for good in the world.
Deliver racial justice. I wonder what that means.
Yeah. I know speaking of unity can sound to some like a foolish fantasy these days.
Mitch McConnell.
I know the forces that divide us are deep, and they are real.
I like that there are some Republicans there.
They are not new.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is there as well, I think, somewhere.
A constant struggle
maybe it's just a symbol, but
between the American
good one,
ideal that we're all created equal and the harsh, ugly reality that racism, nativism, fear, demonization,
nativism.
Long torn
I don't even know
sure
what that means.
Yeah.
The battle is perennial, and victory is never assured. Through civil war,
so
the Great Depression,
he's sort of brought that sort of
War,
racism point up a couple of times now in the first
and setbacks,
minute or so.
our better angels have always prevailed. In each of these moments, enough of us have come together.
He doesn't clap at certain points, I remember.
No, he doesn't, I know.
And we can do that now. History, faith, and reason show the way of unity. We can
History,
see each other
he's
not
pointed
as
out there.
adversaries, but as neighbors.
Very good for people to remember on both sides.
With dignity and respect.
Always learn from
We can
history.
join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace.
I do like this part.
Only bitterness
about
and
just
fury.
chilling out, basically.
No progress.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Only
good point.
exhausting
Good point to make.
outrage.
We don't need to shout and
No
stuff
nation.
to solve problems.
Only a state
Exactly,
of
yeah.
chaos. This is our historic moment of crisis and challenge. And unity is the path forward.
But what if I disagree with you,
And
Joe?
we must meet this moment as the
You're going to unite with me?
How
If we do
are you
that,
going to unite if
I
someone
guarantee
disagrees
you
with you?
we will not fail.
That's the problem,
We
isn't
have
it?
never, ever failed in America. We've acted together.
That's a bit of a Trumpism, that.
Yeah,
And so today,
Never, ever fails, ever.
in this place,
straight from the
let's
Trumpian
start
playbook.
afresh. All of us. Let's begin to listen to one another.
I cannot stand
Hear
Camilla
one
Harris. I'm
another.
sorry. She's
See one another.
she's like a robot person.
You know,
May God
yeah,
bless America,
I don't get a great
and
vibe.
may
I
God
don't think I
protect
know
our
quite
troops.
enough about her.
Thank you, America.
She seems to have made friends with Biden very quickly.
Oh, look at him walking away, though. It's just like, oh, he doesn't know what to do.
I want to know who he's pointing to.
Points aggressively at someone. Yeah.
It seemed to be very pointed. It wasn't sort of a Robbie Williams-esque point to the whole crowd in one. It was like he'd found somebody specifically that he was pointing to. I'd love to know who it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I watched the full thing at the time, and I remember thinking, within the confines that speech at that particular point you can't bring too much detail into it because it's not a manifesto really. It's about sort of trying to sort of rally people, isn't it? Make them feel good, make them think about things. It's sort of a general overview, isn't it? It's like sort of rallying the troops speech as opposed to a bullet points. This is what I'm going to do. These are the figures, that sort of thing. So taking that into account, I thought generally it was good, and I was pleased. And listen, I've had my reservations about Biden, despite me having no fight in it. Because I'm not, I don't live in America. I'm not American, that sort of thing. Just as an observer, had a few reservations about him. You mentioned that he's very old. I think undeniably that's his main downfall, isn't it? That he's very old. And despite me sort of not agreeing with a big chunk of his policies from what he said he was going to do before the election, so he's already sort of on the back foot with me. But I thought that speech was good, and when I watched the full thing, I finished it feeling sort of rallied, and I think that the point sort of hit home that it was like, listen, we're going to chill out. We've not failed before. We're not going to start now. We're all going to come together. I mean, that sort of uniting thing is very easy to say. It's like, why don't we all just unite? Why don't we all just unite? Let's all just be friends. Like, what? It's kind of like, why don't you all just agree with me? Everyone just agree with me. That's the vibe I got. Like, we've won. Now it's time for you all to agree with me. Exactly. So that's the main issue with that sort of rhetoric. But I get the point. He has to somehow unite people, despite them disagreeing. There was a very interesting sentence or paragraph or whatever that he did say in that speech, where he was like, it wasn't in that little summary video there, but he said something like. Listen, at the end of the day, if you don't like it, that's tough. He basically said something along those lines. If you don't like it, that's tough. Okay, we're all going to try our best, and I'm going to do my best for everybody. If you still don't like it, tough. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. And that was my favourite part of it. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Because that's what I say in the other direction a lot of the times. I'm like, listen, if you've lost an election, tough at the end of the day. That the leader has a responsibility to try and do his best for his or her best for absolutely everyone under his sort of leadership. But at the end of the day, tough. If you don't like it, you literally can't win them all. You can't please everyone all the time. So I thought that bit was quite good. I think he could have made a bit more about that. But
I just feel like I think I completely agree with the unity thing. It's the easiest thing on the planet to say. And he has just been saying these things this entire election. He has, first of all, he's just been hiding. And then when he has sort of popped his head up, he's only said these sort of like platitudes that there's nothing real. Although I will say he's done obviously a lot of stuff since he's been in office, which I'll touch on in a sec. But the thing that gets me, I just would have loved to seen some sort of humility and sort of introspection. Like, listen, we need to come together. I need to listen to you guys, and you guys need to listen to us. Or something about him or his side of the argument, right?
Yeah.
At the moment, it does very much sound like, you guys just get on board. You need to listen to me. That's the way unity works, right? It's both sides are going to have to sort of come to terms and respect each other. And there's also no sort of. There was a lot of talk about, obviously, the insurrectionists and the Capitol riots, which was obviously terrible. But there was zero talk about the millions of dollars of damage and rioting that happened in America during the summer. People literally making like their own like little mini countries, like with CHOP or CHAP, whatever it was called, in like Seattle or wherever it was.
Yeah.
And there's just no. Just because it's sort of on their side, they never mention it, and it was such a good opportunity there to sort of just say, listen, because they already won. Then it doesn't matter if they annoy them now. Listen, that can't be happening either. And there was maybe a moment in there where he did say like violence and stuff, and that could be maybe construed to mean them as well. But I don't know. I just would have liked a little bit more sort of introspection and sort of just honesty, and say, listen, hey, we've got to work on it as well. We've all got to work together. I didn't really feel that. I did watch the whole speech as well, and I just didn't get that from the whole speech. But yeah, no, I will give him his time, and he's definitely doing stuff. That's another annoying thing about the Trump administration. The vast majority of the good stuff that I think he did as executive order. So that means that day one, as we've seen, Biden's just gone in and reversed it all.
Yeah.
So because it wasn't put through into law via Congress or anything, even though Trump had both the House and Congress, I think, in his first 2 years, which so that's a massive issue. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, let's have a little review, maybe next season, or 6 months time, sort of thing, and see where we're at. I think at the moment we're a sort of complacent. Let's take a breath and see how he does. Wish him the best sort of vibe at the moment, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, for sure. We want him to do good. If he does good, everyone does good, right? So
yeah, big time.
Let's fingers crossed. Hope for the best.
Okay, great. So you put a very interesting question to me earlier in the week for me to think about, and I think this is going to be a good one. This is a little bit more chilled. But you asked me my top 3 blokes of all time.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I've had fun thinking about this. It's surprisingly difficult. When you asked me, I was like, oh yeah, amazing. 1, 2, 3. And I was like, actually no, what about them? What about them? And I'm thinking of all the positives of each bloke and the downfalls of each bloke, and thinking, oh, can I include them? All this sort of thing. It's actually quite tough, right? And I'd love to actually, after we say ours, I'd love to hear any listeners, if they've got like top 3 blokes, like comment in the comments, or like text us or whatever. Let us know.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be loads. People are going to send us a message. I'm going to go, oh God, yeah, of course, them, that sort of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you kick us off with your top 3 first?
Okay, cool. So I feel like it's a bit of an open-ending question. So I think maybe we've looked at this slightly differently. So I've gone for top 3 blokes to me. And what I mean by that is these guys that I've obviously looked up to for a long time, and they've definitely molded me as a person. Whilst also being, I don't think any of my 3 are sort of questionable. They're all top for their own sort of reasons. So should we do all 3 each, and then I'll do my 3, then you do your 3, shall we?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. So number 1 for me is going to be Dave Grohl.
Nice.
Now,
nice.
I had to have a musician on here, and there are obviously more maybe classic manly guys, but I thought as a bloke he was huge for me, because I was a massive Foo Fighters fan, big Nirvana fan when I was a kid as well. Obviously I'm a drummer, he's a drummer, so there was parallels there. As well as that though, he's like known as like the nicest guy in rock, right? So yeah. I always loved him because I felt like I'm not the nicest guy in the world, but I feel like I'm a nice guy, and I never really associated with those rock stars that were just, I'm just going to swear, dicks.
Yeah.
I'll bleep it out. Because Noel Gallagher, for a perfect example, you could tell watching Supersonic, like you can tell he wants to be a rock star, and he has this persona that he's so clearly putting on, just being the most horrible person on the planet, just because he feels like that's what a rock star does.
Do you mean Liam?
Liam, not Noel. Noel's all right. Sorry, my bad. I said Noel earlier about the hat as well. It's definitely a Liam thing. God damn it. Anyway, so yeah, Liam, like he's obviously putting this like personality on, and I just hate him. Can't stand the man. Like, he's a decent singer and band's pretty good, I guess. But
sold a few records,
Yeah. But Dave Grohl, I feel like, is just the perfect guy. He's just a really nice guy, amazing musician. And yeah, I just he completely shaped the way I look at music and playing and that kind of stuff. Another thing as well is he wasn't that good a singer when he first started out as a lead singer of his band Foo Fighters, and he's gotten better, and he's obviously worked his ass off to get good, and it's just like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, that's just a perfect example of someone who you actually do it and you practice. You're not good straight away with anything, and that's definitely something I've taken from Dave. He's an absolute legend, that guy.
Yeah, well, that's what we kind of forget nowadays, don't we? Like, I mean, I guess most people don't know the ins and outs of record companies and stuff, but nowadays, record companies want the complete package immediately. So it's like all these like boys and girls that are like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17 years old, and they kind of expect like a fully formed like performer, fully fledged package, like a performer that in theory would need at least 15 years worth of like solid experience in all manner of performing, you know, and they expect that from a 15-year-old girl sometimes, you know, these big major labels. It's like, no, there's a reason why bands and